from across the tri-states, this is KHQA Sports.
Well, tip-top of the evening, everybody, and welcome to your Week 7 edition of Sports Final. Oh, the places we will go tonight. Or as the Tri-State TV sports directors are calling this secretly tonight, the biggest logistical football nightmare of our season. Good games to be had, absolutely, out there tonight. But the best of the lot, in all but one circumstance, we're no less than 90 minutes drive away tonight. In that spirit, welcome to Road Trip Weekend, but we start close to home. Senior night, homecoming, and all kinds of festivities at Q&D as Q&D would meet Pittsfield Grigsville Perry for the first time since 1998 and for maybe the last time into the foreseeable future. The Q&D faithful dressing up like bacon, whoopee cushions. The guy with the ghost was kind of selling it short there. Let's start you off with some defense. First play from scrimmage, Ike Whitaker trying to run. Tell you what, Q&D having none of it. That's Jeffrey Haley with a big stop there. 2 plays into their first possession, Q&D had a score. Great passing hook up here from Joey McKay. Over to that senior we showed you being honored on senior night, Mr. Jordan Chappell, in from 21 yards out. Made it 7-0 in favor of Q&D, and that poor kid fell off the truck. That's not a really good highlight for him. Better highlight here for Q&D's defense yet again. That's how you sniff out a screen pass. Luke Frieden bringing the noise at that point. However, Pittsfield's defense up to the task as well. The senior defensive end, Eli Petty, with a quarterback sack. We pick it up again. Q&D leading 14-0. How about the quarterback, Wade Smith, rolling out, extending the play, and he extended it for the betterment of it at this point. Dalton Butler wide open, 63 yards later. Are you kidding me? It's 14-7. The Sockies right back into the fray. Q&D, though, was not hearing that kind of talk. Dalen Anders taking the toss sweep, and 36 yards of goodness later, he's into the end zone to re-extend the Q&D score at that point to 21-7. More from Q&D, more from Jordan Chappell. 3 touchdowns receptions on the night. Joey McKay hooking up to make it 27-7 at this point. Chappell not only doing it offensively, it was a heck of a senior night for this kid. Defensively as well, playing center field. He's a pretty good baseball player as well, showing the range right there with the over-the-shoulder, almost like Willie Mays type catch right there. That would set up, a fake punt. Q&D trying to get something going before the end of the half. Luke Frieden makes it pay, but Q&D can't punch it in before the end of the half. No matter, Q&D picks up win number 6, the magic win number 6, to assure themselves yet another playoff berth as they beat Pittsfield Grigsville Perry. 49-7 was your final tonight. What turned out to be a pretty entertaining game out at 10th and Jackson. And I tell you what, you know who else is entertained tonight? Miss Emmy Kepner of Quincy, Illinois, because she is our 7th finalist for that wonderful dirt bike that TNT Action Sports has given away as part of our Game of the Week tailgate party. Remember, Emmy, congratulations to you. And remember, you only have 2 more weeks to sign up and get your chance to do it. And if you're in Quincy next week, you'll have a good chance to do it because we're going to Flynn Stadium, the Blue Devils tonight. We'll get to them in a second. Let's do the rest of the West Central Conference scores. First of all, though, we talked about Quincy Notre Dame winning. Illini West also a winner on that long road trip over to Trenton, Missouri. This game actually started at 6 o'clock tonight. Kind of a back-and-forth affair, but Lyle Klein's team finds its traction in this game late and beats Trenton, Missouri 34-23. Good win for Illini West, who now improves to 5-2 on the season. Illini West playoff eligible. Next week, they'll assure themselves, or at least they'll try to assure themselves, a playoff berth. Also in the West Central Conference, the news not good for Macomb. Shutout on the road at Chillicothe IVC, 36-0 your final there. And West Hancock remains winless going to Monrose. That's a team that was really angry and ticked off after that big loss last week to Pittsfield Grigsville Perry. Monrose takes it out on West Hancock 49-6. I mentioned Quincy High School. Game of the week next week. The Blue Devils leading Moline at last check. This game was in the 4th quarter, 28-5. The Blue Devils playing some good football right now. They host Galesburg next week, and again, that will be your KHQA Game of the Week. Also, great news for the Jacksonville Crimsons. A must-win game of sorts from Mark Brown's crew. They must won it. They take out Taylorville on the road 45-14. All started off with Bryce Schnitker finding Cody Wood on an 89-yard touchdown reception. And pretty much from there on out, the floodgates opened, the deluge began, and the Crimsons pick up the victory. 45-14 was your final. Let's do some Missouri fun tonight. Biggest game of the night took place in Moberly. Undefeated state-ranked Moberly against unbeaten state-ranked Hannibal early on in this game, Justin Conaway on the move. He finds Scott Mason open in the flat, and Mason is going to do some things. Down the sideline, 45 yards, all the way down to the 1. The Helias coaching staff getting a gander at this really, really good Spartan team. Very next play, it's Greg Bain, and he is a good one. In from outside to take it in. Take control, people. Take it. That's a really bad Bain imitation. But here comes Hannibal answering back. Mitch Nichols breaking free for the 9-yard touchdown. They're flying the Jolly Roger in this one. Moberly trying to make some more things happen as Conaway again with the big scamper right here as Jason Ambrosen's team was really playing well in this one. Playing well at this point. The highlights, though, continue. Scary moment for Hannibal, though, in this ball game. That, my friends, is a really scary moment for Mr. Jordan Wilson. He went out. He is walking around under his own power, according to Blake Topmeyer of the Quincy Herald Whig. Jordan Wilson got hurt, was taken out on a stretcher. Hannibal trying to bounce back in this game. And here you come right here. It's 14-7 Spartans right here as they take the lead. More to come just before the half. Mitch Nichols out of Hannibal taking it in strong to tie this game up to 14 apiece. Unfortunately for Hannibal, Moberly had way too much down the stretch. The Hannibal Pirates give up 56 points on the night, lose their second game of the season, and it looks like Moberly's going to win the NCMC. Final count this one was 56-36. Palmyra with one last big one tonight in regular season play on the long road trip all the way over to Brookfield, a team renowned for its defense. Palmyra able to move the ball early. Brock Butler right here with a nifty spin move on the keeper for the first down, but that drive would eventually stall. Palmyra's defense, though, absolutely obliterated Brookfield. Second great week in a row for these guys, as everybody's pretty much in on the tackle there. See Josh Holtz in there somewhere. Great stuff from the Palmyra defense. A host of Tigers about to hit the All-Stater J.J. Obongo in the backfield as well. Palmyra's defense simply bringing it. Late second quarter, game tied at zeros. Palmyra gets a drive going with Brock Butler hooking up with Case Doyle. Brookfield stiffens here on 4th and 6 from the 15-yard line. Caleb Kaiser gets just enough yardage here to sneak it into 1st and goal. Brookfield would make a huge goal line stand for 3 downs, stopping Josh Holtz right here on 3rd and 1. 4th and goal, though. Palmyra puts the ball back in the hands of Caleb Kaiser, and the senior running back would deliver the goods. Palmyra jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and eventually that is all that Kevin Miles' team would need tonight. They end up picking up the victory over Brookfield in a game that wasn't nearly as close as it was in the first half. Palmyra shifts it into overdrive and gets the big win. 35-7 was your final there. More from the Clarence Cannon Conference now. We've got Clark County trying to bounce back from that big 52-7 loss to Palmyra last week. Tough sledding against these guys. Centralia is good, and this guy, Cullen Rills, is apparently once again very healthy. 55 yards of pure speed from that fella into the end zone to put the Centralia Panthers up at that point 7-0. Centralia not done. They've got all kinds of running weapons, none better than their elusive quarterback. From 8 yards out, this is Zach Etzler going in and extending the lead out to 14-0. And then again, more Etzler, this time showing off the arm as he's going to hook up with one of his many fine receivers. In this particular case, Gannon Peevler to extend the lead out to 21-0. No looking back for Centralia, which posts the big-time victory tonight and wins in a blowout. 49-6 was your final. 2 straight losses for Clark County. Also on the docket tonight in the Clarence Cannon Conference, Louisiana and Monroe City in an absolute shootout. Defense a bit of a lost art, but Monroe City gets off the schneid, posts the win, 55-34. And look at Macon. The score is reversed. So just so you know this, the score got reversed in the computer. Macon is a winner yet again. Macon now 6-1 on the season, heading into a difficult stretch with Brookfield and with Centralia. But Macon wins 49-0 to improve to 6-1. Got a big showdown next week, again, with Brookfield and then the chair game to round out the regular season. More from the Clarence Cannon Conference for you now. Highland and South Shelby going at it. We thought this would be a very entertaining game. It was for at least one of the squads, and that would be the South Shelby Cardinals. The Birds riding the Kenny Smithy experience right here. Great block to open him up. 15 yards away, 13-0 at that point. Highland looking to answer. Austin Richmiller stays alive in the pocket just long enough here to find Lane Sly for a nice completion, but the Cougars would eventually be forced to punt. On the punt, Fernando Murphy breaks up the reception, and Sly pounces on the ball. Good stuff right there for the Highland Cougars. Highland could not again score. South Shelby's defense was stout tonight. More from Kenny Smithy. Toss sweep to him, making it a 20-0 lead in favor of the Birds at that point. They're just never going to give up in this game. Trace Windsor, welcome back, buddy. The All-Stater looking like Trace Windsor again. Remember, he had that fractured back last year. Trace Windsor looks really healthy right there, in for the score. Then Brett Threckle doing his thing, gets one more touchdown before the half. All South Shelby in this game tonight in a surprisingly lopsided affair. 46-6 was your final in favor of the Birds in this one. Other scores from Missouri on the night. Paris continues to roll. I'll tell you what, that team is an offensive juggernaut. They hand Slater their 7th straight loss of the season. Paris playing some really good football right now. Kyle Popkeys, another big night passing the football, had at least a couple of touchdown passes. Now has over 25 at least on the season that I saw, which is really impressive through 7 weeks of the year. Also in Missouri tonight, no final on Bowling Green, Montgomery County. I do know that Montgomery County was up at the half by at least a 14-0 score. Scotland County makes it 2 wins this season over Knox County. Scotland just getting it done, 41-26, winning on the road at Edina tonight. North Shelby's losing streak reaches 43 as Putnam County comes to Shelbyville and wins by the final count in that one of 46-12. Let's take you back to Illinois. Triopia needed a win tonight over the number 3 team in the state, Central, to end up remaining in the hunt to stay playoff eligible. Austin Cranberg having none of it. Had just 3 carries on the night. Took them for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. Really the story of the ball game. All Central all the time. That ground game impressive. Triopia has fallen on very hard times. There will be no playoff berth. Central wins 54-12. How about the Brown County Hornets trekking just down the road to Jacksonville Route? Tell you what, it's a nice play from Route to open things up. Dylan Jones hooking up with Adam Howard. Beautiful catch despite the huge hit from Brady Long. Unfortunately for Route, that wasn't going to last too long. Braxton Phelps playing center field and playing it well right here with the INT at the other end of things, and that's going to set up Nathan McDara. McDara just really a nice rumble right here from 16 yards away as Brown County wins, puts 65 points on the board tonight on the road and wins 65-12 to improve to 6-1 on the season. Other scores from the WIVC, Pleasant Hill and Western, a halftime score according to our friends at the WIVC Twitter site was 22-0, no final yet there. Also tonight, North Green knocks off West Central in a game just completed 28-22 as West Central playoffs hopes take a bit of a hit there. And one more for you. The big one of the night, a battle of unbeatens. Carrollton wins it 30-14. Carrollton next week against Central at Carrollton. That should be a dandy game, a battle of 2 top 4 teams in the state. Guys, why don't you skip over those Mendon Unity highlights? Let's continue to go to the scoreboards if we could from other action around the state. As we showed you last night, Mendon Unity was a big-time winner on the road at ISD. Let's take a look at some other football in Illinois. Knoxville, a winner over Rushville Industry, 48-6 was your final there. Knoxville continues to roll along nicely. Farmington knocks off Beardstown. Beardstown's kind of gotten into a funk of late. 35-12 was your final in that ball game. Also tonight on the docket, Mercer County jumps all over West Prairie. 46-0 was your final in that ball game as well. We have got softball to talk about for you tonight. Louisiana hunting its first ever district title in program history, taking on Montgomery County, a battle of, go ahead, stick with it, district front runners in this game. Denise Blackwell starting things off with some hustle right here. The speed pays off with an infield single. That is huge because coming up later in the top of the first, Caitlin Boltland. Caitlin, get gone! Power bomb from her 2-run jack, which was really the difference in this ball game, as it is a huge win for Caitlin Van Hoosier and company. Caitlin Bolton, with I should say, with the big home run there. Caitlin Van Hoosier, bunch of strikeouts. Louisiana gets it done. They're advancing on into the playoffs with their first district title ever. 6-5, your final. Congratulations, girls. You got it done. Clopton girls, unfortunately, their Cinderella run comes to an end as they lose 5-2. And in soccer, Q&D beaten tonight by Normal Community, 3-0. Huge overtime tomorrow. We'll see you then, everybody.